everybody. I'm Sam Bauer with Goosehead Insurance, and this is our supposed to be live Meet the Flocker, but we had a little bit of technical difficulties. I will probably blame user error, but I'm sitting here today with two of my very, very favorite flockers and friends and partners, and I think that you'll know why by the end of this video, because they're both amazing at what they do. They are hard workers for their clients. We have very similar, I think part of the reason we all got along so well is because we have very similar ways that we work with people, and that's kind of like 100% all the time. And so I think you'll enjoy hearing from Krista and Michael. So Krista Lorenzo is a realtor with Coldwell Banker. She's one of the top realtors probably in the whole state.
Well,
definitely
we can say city.
Yeah, and so she does, and we're actually sitting in one of her listings right now, which is super cool. We've never done a Meet the Flockers from a house that's been a listing before. So, and then Michael Wright is a lender with Holland Mortgage Advisors, and she's also incredible, does all kind of different loans. Very, very knowledgeable about what she does. She's never going to steer anybody the wrong way, and she can definitely help you get that house bought. So what I thought we would do today is that Krista and Michael, in all their expertise, could kind of walk us through the home buying process.
Sure.
And then because we are sitting in this beautifully staged home that sold in like 30 seconds or something like that, Krista's going to give us some tips on if you are looking to sell, which she hopes you are, because there's more buyers than sellers right now, how maybe you can like get some tips from her on how to stage your home so that it sells quickly and potentially above asking price.
Always above asking.
There you go. see what I'm saying? They're all business. Yeah. So go ahead, Krista, take it away. And then
sounds good. Well, I'm sure you guys have heard that our market is crazy right now, and our jobs are to help buyers and sellers navigate this crazy market, not only all the forms and paperworks, but emotionally everything that comes along with it, with multiple offers, with competing, with sometimes losing out. So whenever someone is interested in buying, I like to send them an introductory email that has a 2-page questionnaire. And it's basically, what are you looking for? Talks about financing. And then I also send them a guide on how to buy in this current market. So the first step is always, without exception, to get a pre-approval. So whenever I send you all of this, the #1 thing I say to do is to contact a mortgage lender. If you don't have someone you're working with, having someone that you trust in your corner is vital. And at this point, I turn them over to Michael and wait to hear back from her, because I can't set up their search until we know a number that they are really comfortable with, that fits their budget and their comfort level. So do you want to talk about the pre-approval process?
Sure. So when I get a call from awesome clients like Krista's always are, then what I typically do is I start by telling them that there are 3 main components to pre-approval. And if one of these 3 things is off, pre-approval gets kind of tricky. So we look at credit, we look at income, and we look at assets. So you have decent credit, you have some money to work with, and you have good employment, the rest is probably going to fall into place. If that's not the case, then we talk about what can you do to get to that point. So maybe you're not ready today, maybe you're ready tomorrow, maybe you're ready in 6 months, we figure that out. You know, I usually tell people how much they qualify for. I tell them what taxes and insurance numbers that I use, and I make sure that Krista and the realtor, namely Krista that they're working with, should be Krista that they're working with, knows what those numbers are and what I was basing it on. So that way, you know, if there's any changes to the area of the city that they're looking in or whatnot, I can make those adjustments and make sure people are comfortable with what that payment is.
I feel like that's probably a really hard job too, because I would think that most people have no idea what they can afford in a house, right? So they're like, they probably watch, what's the HGTV show where they're like a butterfly catcher and they have a $2 million budget? Like, so people are probably like, oh, I'm not a butterfly catcher. I have an actual, like, you know, different job, and I could probably afford $3 million. And then they go to Michael and she's like, you qualify for $300,000, not $3 million. I mean, how do you like?
Communication is key.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, just because you qualify for something doesn't mean you have to spend that. So I usually try to gather from people not just what can you qualify for, where's your comfort level? So you may qualify for a $3,000 a month mortgage payment, but only want to spend $1,800 a month. Well, okay, now what price range do you need to look in to be in that and to not be house poor, so to speak, and to be in that comfort zone?
And I think most people do qualify for more than they actually want to spend.
Right.
So whenever, people just throw out a number, I'm like, have you talked to someone? Have you gone through the payment? Because
Right.
they'll just be like, oh, I qualify for this. Great. Have you actually discussed the payment, including the taxes and insurance? And that's where Sam is a key partner with us, is the insurance. If there's flood insurance, if there's knob and tube wiring, we saw that yesterday on a knob and tube one in Verona. So it's like all of that goes into your payment and can change things by hundreds of dollars a month. And for some people, hundreds of dollars is a huge difference,
Which I appreciate, because I will get people like at the end of the process, and if they haven't gone through this, they're like, can you make my homeowner's insurance $4 a month? And I'm like, no, I can't. And they're like, my house purchase is dependent on this. And I'm like, no pressure, but also... It's so great to work with partners to set realistic expectations.
Absolutely. And that's the point of the pre-approval, is to have a realistic expectation. If you're looking at $350,000 houses, but have a budget of, a $200,000 price range, then whenever we start seeing those homes, you're disappointed because you're like, oh, this is what I saw online. This was what I wanted. So to set it up from the beginning with a realistic number, people are so thankful for that.
Well, and one thing to keep a lookout for, and this is, Krista, I was telling you this the other day, what I appreciate about you with your real estate knowledge is sometimes you go to a house that was just newly renovated. So the taxes have not been reassessed yet. So if Krista and I are looking at a house to do a cost sheet on or a cost estimate on, and I see that they just renovated, it was purchased 6 months ago, they're flipping it, the taxes are $1,000 in an area where they're normally $4,000. Okay, we need to call that out, and we need to make sure the buyers know, hey, there's this possibility. Let's talk about that.
And with a lot of the renovation that is happening in this particular home where we're sitting, they made the sales price go up almost well over $200,000. So those taxes are going to triple in essence. Especially with it being in the city, and the school districts are just going after it. So super important point.
So there's so many things. So
so
once they're pre-approved.
Yeah, we're still on step one.
Yeah. Once they're pre-approved, they're good to start shopping. And it's more likely that the offer is going to get accepted.
Right, absolutely. So whenever, once we have that number, we start doing the search criteria. I plug it all in. You start getting an email the second anything fitting your criteria hits the market. We used to say, okay, go take a drive by, then we'll set up an appointment. Now I say, can you be there at 1? So we go, we see it. It is going to be a multiple offer situation. That is the market we are in. I haven't had a listing or a buyer that hasn't had a minimum of 4 offers on the table, up to 15 offers on the table.
Wow.
So just be prepared going in. The key point is you're going to end up in the perfect house. It might be the first one you bid in. It might be the third one, but you will end up in the right house that was meant to be. And another key point for having the pre-approval is whenever I submit that multi-offer situation, we're including all kinds of details and information, and the other agent always says, do you know this lender? Have you worked with them before? What is their record? They might even reach out to her, as we've had happen, reach out to her and ask her how qualified the buyer is.
Wow.
So it is
that's legal?
It is.
There's only certain things I can say.
Got it.
So within the legal limits, I share with them the strength of that buyer.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But whenever you have 10 offers on the table and you don't know, as a seller, like, what do I do? Who's my strongest buyer? Mm-hmm. I always ask if I'm representing, and I've had people ask me, how well do you know this lender? I'm like, this is my go-to lender. I know she gets it done. We've never, ever not gotten it done. Every single step of the process, you have to have go-to people, and people repeatedly come to us after and say, thank you for all those amazing people you introduced me to that made it go well, because I can explain my side, but if I don't know, I absolutely defer it to the expert. I don't try, I know the real estate. I defer everything else. So then once our offer is accepted, we have the appraisal, we negotiate through home inspections, and then we're ready to close. And once our offer is accepted, a lot then goes into the financial paperwork. There's a lot more interaction with you at that point.
Well, and for the application process, a lot of things, there's times I don't meet buyers. I try to go to closings when I can, but sometimes the whole thing is really done through, uploading your documentation into a secure portal, because protecting your information is really a huge priority. The application process, it's now all electronically signed. I think the biggest thing is setting expectations, and I always try to tell people, hey, here's what I need this by to be able to close your loan on time. And if people get us stuff quickly, which 9 times out of 10 they do, 10 out of 10 if they're Krista's buyers, because they're super on the ball.
I make them.
But that's important, and I think the other thing is answering the phone. So you're talking about lenders and insurance agents and realtors. Who's going to answer the phone? If the listing agent turns around and says, I'm going to call the lender, and the lender never answers that call, what kind of injustice is that for the buyer and the offer that they're trying to make?
And super important, because a lot of this is a lot of these offers and a lot of stuff is happening on the weekends and the evenings. So you need a lender that is available all the time, not a 9 to 5, because you're not getting the house whenever your lender's not available to give you that information.
Yeah, like if I see a call from Krista, I could be sleeping. I'm like, oh, it's Krista. I have to answer it, whatever. And you know what though? But that kind of relationship builds over time.
Absolutely.
If some lenders get a call like that from a realtor they've never worked with, and that you don't have that kind of rapport, sometimes it makes things a little more challenging in that regard.
For sure.
Not that we don't want to answer when someone calls, because that is important, but I know that when Krista asks me for something, it's because she really does need it. She's not saying she needs it and doesn't. She really actually does, and that's important.
Yeah, and that's the same for me. I mean, if Michael or Krista calls me, I'm answering. It doesn't matter what. And we kind of joke, like, who responds to the emails the fastest? It's true. And if you don't have a realtor who has a toolkit of a team that they work with, look for another realtor, because they really, it makes the whole transaction.
How you're going to get the house too.
It's you want a team that's working for you, that I mean, Krista's job is to get you your home. So Michael's job is to make sure that loan closes so Krista can get you your home. My job is to make sure the insurance is in place at the right rate and the right coverage, so that Michael closes the loan, so that it's like what's the lady that ate the fly, right? Like I have to get that in place, so Michael closes the loan, so that Krista closes the house, so that you have your dream house. And that's really kind of what it's all about.
Absolutely.
And it's super fun to work with you ladies. Tell us a little bit of tips about, if I want to sell my house today, what are some tips you can give me to stage
fantastic. So after COVID, the thing that most buyers are looking for is kitchen updated, bathrooms updated, outdoor space, and home office. So my seller in this particular home, Jared Regal of Regal Construction, did an absolutely amazing job.
It's beautiful in here.
It is gorgeous. Since we don't have time to show you, these are just a couple of the photos of the updated bathrooms, gorgeous, gorgeous kitchen, the outdoor space that he created just 2 blocks from Mount Washington, and we have a home office here as well. So it's really important, if you're getting ready to put your home on the market, those are the things that buyers are really, really looking for.
If you are in the market to look for a house, call Krista, who will then call Michael, who will then call me. And we will make sure that you guys get what you want and what you're looking for. And I love what Krista said, that you will get the house that's meant for you.
Absolutely.
That gave me goosebumps. I think it's a great thing to say. Yes. So. All right, well, thanks everybody.
Bye.